Michigan lawmakers are considering a change to the requirements for substitute teachers to help fix the shortage.
Right now, substitute teacher candidates have to have completed at least 60 college credits. If this proposal passes, anyone 21 and older can be a substitute as long as they have a high school diploma.
Plus, anyone 18 and older could sub for kindergarten through 8th grade if they're enrolled in a teacher prep program.
Joining us now to discuss this proposal is Sherry Gay-Dagnogo, former Democratic state representative and current member of the Detroit School Board. So, on its face, what do you think, Sherry? Are you for or against this?
Well, before I say for or against, it really speaks to the larger problem that we have, the shortages of teachers, educators throughout the state, but not just the state, across the country. And as a country, we have to value educators more. This is an approach that I believe can have some merit. And I know the bill, there's been some substitutes put in the bill to change things. It's not a long-term opportunity for those, especially that are 18 years old. They must have some credits. It's a maximum of 10 days. So it's not a long-term sub opportunity. But this will provide an opportunity to provide some coverage. And in some instances, those that are in teacher prep programs can get some hands-on experience. So I did my student teaching in a classroom with another teacher that was there, and in some instances I covered the class myself. I didn't have my teaching certification at the time. I didn't even have my bachelor's at the time. So it was an opportunity for me to get experience in the classroom, and I think far too often there's not enough of that. Is this the solution? Overall, no, but it has to be, it will provide some relief to classes right now that are going constantly uncovered throughout all of our districts. And so I've spoken to Rep. Shannon, whose legislation this is. I know that the Michigan Department of Education does support it, but you will see some changes to the legislation on its face. I know some folks are a little bit concerned, but as long as the young people are in education and teacher prep programs, it can be a great solution.
18 years old just seems way too young. And look, maybe for a day or two, but if you're looking at long term, as far as they have to go in for a week or a few months, if somebody is on maternity leave, something like that, 18 just seems really young.
So again, I just want to be clear. The legislation does not provide for long-term substitutes. So we want to be clear, and you're absolutely right. I wouldn't support an 18-year-old or any non-credentialed person being in a classroom long-term if they didn't have any competencies, they didn't understand education pedagogy. That would be problematic. So we want to make sure that we are putting licensed professional educators in long-term class situations. But when it comes to providing support in the classroom, covering classrooms that would otherwise not be covered, I would rather have someone in there that has oversight. So they're not in there on their own. They're going to have like master teachers and support to oversee their presence in the classroom, and they're going to be provided somewhat of a manuscript when it comes to teacher and education learning plans for the day. So they're not just in there doing their own thing, because there are some competencies that need to take place for someone to be a credentialed educator.
And what does that oversight look like? To Jeff's point, I mean, even one day, I can't imagine a whole classroom of 6-year-olds, and I'm not 18. You know, what's that oversight gonna be like?
So it'll be, in all honesty, based on the legislation that I read, it will be closer to a 20-year-old. And I know, I mean, that varies on the spectrum. We know that in many instances, women are a little bit more mature than our male counterparts. But that's a whole nother show. But I'm with you. 18-year-olds being able to manage a classroom that have behavioral challenges, have special needs. This is not a long-term solution, but it's a coverage so that you are in alignment and compliance with the law. In the event, during COVID, we had a number of educators who, for their own health reasons, may not have been in the classroom. I would have rather had someone in there than not have anyone in there. And in these instances, it'll probably be staff perhaps from the school that have demonstrated a desire to do more. I forget what state it was, but there was a janitor, and I have to look this up, but there was a janitor that was a part of a school that's not in the state of Michigan, but they actually went through an education program because once in the school, they became a part of the culture. They wanted to help children more, and they actually went through the process of getting their teacher certification. And I know there's stories similar to that in Michigan, but this is a ramp up into education, and while they're there getting firsthand experience with support. So the bill is still going through its process and improvements, and I'm sure there'll be some amendments that take place to make sure that safety and education competency comes first.
There's a saying, you pay for what you get. And could the solution here with a shortage be just throwing more money at teachers who deserve to be paid higher salaries to get more applicants in this process?
So absolutely. I mean, I won't say throwing more money, but I will, because most educators get into the field of education not just for the money, but if we want to make sure that teachers remain in the classroom and be a part of education, we want to be respectful of them. We want to treat them fairly. We want to make them feel a part of the solution. And in many instances, that's what we're seeing across the country. And a lot of our districts, the teachers are leaving the profession because they don't feel respected and they don't feel a part of a positive culture. When we do that in this country, we will attract and retain more teachers and stop losing them. And that's what we got to do. And so, yes, we want to give them fair wages, equitable wages, statewide and nationwide, but we also want to give them the respect that is necessary to treat them like the professionals that they are, because it is not easy going to get a credential to be a teacher, especially a master teacher like I was.
Right. Well, Sherry, we appreciate your perspective on this so much. As someone who's been in the classroom and has some skin in this game still, we will be following this legislation as it moves forward.
Thank you so
Sherry.
much.